Hey guys, welcome to episode number 108. Today is another day in my DIY marathon, and today I have an aquarium vacuum wand. There are a number of concepts from my previous video which have been incorporated into this design, and I feel this is a great improvement over what I showed you yesterday. Still a work in progress, but I'll walk you through exactly what it is, how it works, how I put it together, and then we'll go test it out. So starting at this end, the business end, we've got a turkey baster, and what I did was I widened the hole on this end a little bit to allow more stuff to get sucked up. I've got two instead of one airline hoses with the slim air stones, so that I've doubled my amount of airlift in this tube. Then I've got a couple of PVC fittings. This goes to a 1/2-inch PVC pipe, and I'll get back to this, but I've labeled this 55 gallon. And then it comes to a PVC T, and from there we can go all the way up, and we step up to a 3/4 inch PVC pipe, and that's a really tall snorkel essentially. And my airlines run all the way out the top of there. And on the other side of the T, what we have is an elbow that then goes into a couple more PVC fittings and then back into a bottle. And the important thing here is that now I have an open cell reticulated filter foam stuffed into this end here. This comes from the New England foam sample. It's the T30. And I just wrapped a rubber band around here to produce a tight seal there so the debris doesn't blow out the bottom end of this. But essentially how this works is you've got an airlift tube, so the debris enters through this turkey baster end. It's visible, so you can see if it starts getting clogged up with plants or snails or whatever, and you can fix that as you go. And then the airlift goes all the way up this tube. And at this point is where you want your water height to be. The top of your water in your aquarium should be around this point. And because of that, the height or the length of this piece of PVC is going to vary depending on the size of your tank. This has been cut to fit a 55-gallon tank. If you have a taller tank, this would need to be a longer piece of PVC so that you always have this point as your water line. If it's a shorter tank, then obviously this would need to be shorter. So with that in mind, what happens then is the air continues to travel up here. This is the water line. Because the air is pushing the water up, you might have a little bit extra of a head height, so the water might come partway up this tube, but what's going to happen is this snorkel is going to break that air pressure, and the rest of the air is going to shoot out the end of the pipe. And that is one thing that I was missing in my previous design, is I wasn't allowing the air to escape. So with this in mind, what happens is when all of the air and all of the water and all of the debris get to this point at this T, the air gets to escape. The water only has one place to go because it can't push all the way up this tube, so it spills down into this portion, and with it comes all of the waste. So what happens is essentially this is your collection chamber for all of the junk, all of the heavy debris in your aquarium, and just like a vacuum bag, this is where all of your debris is going to collect, and then obviously the water is going to be able to pass through this reticulated open cell filter foam, but all of the debris is going to get trapped inside of there. So that's essentially how this works. In the aquarium, it would probably need to be positioned something like this at an angle, and let's go test it out to see if it works. Alright, so I've connected my airline tubes here to their air source. I've got them on little valves here so I can adjust the amount of airflow, but I've pretty much maxed them out. I've got a large air pump sitting up here delivering 2 airlines full of air all the way down the airlift tube into this portion of the vacuum. So as you can see, that section is full of bubbles, and they're racing up this airlift tube, and there's no water coming out of this end. Now, if I had left it at half-inch pipe here, half-inch pipe all the way up, the air might actually be able to push the water all the way out the end of this pipe. But there are two ways you can combat that. You can increase the height of your pipe. The higher you go, the more air pressure is pushing against the water, and the less likely that airlift is going to be able to overflow out of the top. Or you can just increase the diameter of your pipe, and that's what I've decided to do here to keep it a little bit shorter. So let's give this a try. As you can see, the air is coming up here. Here's the water line, and there's the T, and so this is perfectly positioned so that the water exits this way and the air exits through the top. So let's just zoom in here on the bottom of the tank, and I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's actually picking up a lot of the debris on the bottom of the tank. It's actually working fairly quickly. Obviously, a gravel vac would probably work a little bit faster than this, but at the same time, we're not removing the water from the tank here. Essentially, what we're doing is just trying to remove all of the heavy debris from this tank. And if we look at the chamber here, what we'll start to notice is a lot of debris that's starting to enter this chamber. So as the air exits through the top, the debris and the water have to pass through this chamber. And as you can see, the debris is just constantly getting blown into this chamber, and then it doesn't have anywhere to exit because of this this foam. So I would call this quite a success. I'm sure I used a few too many PVC parts in this iteration of this aquarium vacuum, but I think this design is actually starting to work. So I might come back to this one at a later point with maybe a simplified design here, but definitely, if you guys are interested in aquarium vacuums, internal vacuums for your aquariums, instead of doing some water changes on a weekly basis, you can continue to do those. But if you need to vacuum your tank more often than that, your nitrates probably aren't building up that fast in your aquarium. But something like this can help you to remove a lot of the waste in between your regular water changes. So I hope you guys like this. I hope you guys experiment on your own and let me know what you come up with. Just as a reminder, today is the last day in my DIY aquarium contest, so make sure you check out episode number 101. And if you're planning on making a video and submitting that, make sure you do that before midnight tonight, otherwise it won't count. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you check out episode number 101 and submit your own video to that, and I'll see you guys later.